Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Guitar of the Day. I'm your host, Michael Lemo, and first of all, happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Norman's Rare Guitars. Yes, and we have a special guest, Mr. Greg Coates.
Yes!
I'm thankful for Greg. That's basically where I'm at. And also, we do have a show coming up on December 13th at Maui Sugar Mill. Lands on a Monday, so hopefully Norm will come out and the whole crew, and we're going to be rocking.
That place is always fun.
It's just
so
around the corner.
It's around the corner. It's like a backyard show for Norms.
Good times.
So, Cadillac Zach, thank you for having us, and we're very excited. So how are you doing, Greg?
I'm good. I'm
Busy man.
busy man.
But we do have a really cool bass, do we not?
This is a really, I like it much more than I thought I would, to be honest with you. And it's got a really burly, in-your-face sound, and it's cool. Let's
check it out.
It sounds like a bag of hammers, I think that's what I described it like.
Nope, I don't think there is one. So it's a 1971 Fender Telecaster bass.
Telecaster bass.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is sharp looking too.
Candy apple metallic.
Candy apple red. But yeah, beautiful instrument. We got the truss rod up top, maple fretboard. But yeah, as Greg was saying, you got that neck kind of humbucker sound, so it's definitely like pretty engine motory sounding.
It's got a really throaty, aggressive sound, and I didn't expect that out of this. But it has round wounds on it, and then the maple board adds a little snap, a little bite to the tone. It's really, I think this instrument's set up the way it's supposed to be to get the most out of it right now. I know a lot of people like to use flat wounds or want to hear flat wounds on these kind of vintage instruments, but this is kind of a transition between classic rock and like modern rock in the 70s too, and a more aggressive approach to getting bass sounds. And it's weird that they didn't put a bridge pickup in it, but the neck pickup's got a lot of snarl and bite for how deep it is too. So yeah, I mean, if you like that big fat like John Entwistle, like Geezer Butler kind of wide bass sound with a lot of like presence, this is it. And the neck, did a little work on the neck, got it dead straight, plays great. Truss rod super, it's active, it's very adjustable. Tuners are all in great shape. Man, this thing just has a giant aggressive sound to it.
So who's Russell Cole?
Somebody who I'm gonna guess those are the last three numbers of maybe his driver's license, because that's definitely not the last three numbers of it, because you have four numbers in your social security. But who knows?
Russell Cole was here, but we can look him up and say, hey,
003 is it? Yeah, he was 4 before 007.
Oh,
so.
yeah, he's okay. I'm not going to talk shit then if he's a 007. But really, really cool bass, Greg. Always a pleasure to have you, and let's take it up front. And also, it has this beautiful case too.
It does.
No case candy, but still in cool condition. And
missing a latch.
Missing a latch.
Might be able to find that because the spring's still there, so we could probably burgle a piece off another case. Burgle, yes. It's an active.
Let's go burgle.
Active burgling.
Let's go burgle. All right, we'll see you up front. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much.
Hey everybody, it's Greg Coates here at Norman's Rare Guitars, and I'm just showing you this 1971 Fender Telecaster bass. Very, very cool. It's got the kind of the split coil, what I like to call mud bucker, because it's always really bassy down here. Your typical two controls. You got the cover over the bridge. It is a 2-saddle bridge. 3-bolt neck plate. Gentleman who owned it at some point in his life carved his name and the last 3 numbers of maybe his driver's license into the back of it. It's got some cool, unique, and original wear. Machines are all correct, all the screws and everything there. And I point that out because it's really hard to find these screws if you're ever missing them, or a strange, like left-handed thread metric. So it's good when they're all there. But really cool is it did a little bit of work on this, and it came in. The neck was kind of a little bit bent. I got a hold of the truss rod, cleaned it up, straightened up. It's a really clean, easy player. Really comfortable neck, rounded just right, like kind of not quite as wide as the early 60s and stuff, but round and a little wider than what you'd find in the later 70s, some of the jazz bass spacing necks they made later on. But kind of a unique instrument in the fact that it's candy apple red for one thing, but also a 3-bolt P bass, which is really uncommon because they only really made jazz basses with 3 bolts at this time, typically. But it's also a Telecaster bass, which is what they weren't originally called. They were called precision basses. This is almost like their first reissue instrument that I'm aware of, but also incorporated some newer ideas like what they did in the Telecasters from this era, and called it a Telecaster bass as opposed to the original precision bass. So it's a pretty unique period and design, you know, by these guys in the early 70s. Anyway, it's got a really good sound. It's super deep, but it has a real clarity to it. We're running round wounds on right now, which I know a lot of people prefer flat wounds on instruments from this time, but as music was changing, like the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, it was getting more aggressive as far as the bass sounds go. People like Geezer Butler and John Entwistle and John Paul Jones, Geddy Lee, Chris Squire, Dusty Hill, probably, you know, he played something similar to this as well from ZZ Top. But you know, the round wounds actually really help this instrument have a little bit more clarity to the note, and I'd probably recommend it with this bass, to be honest. But we'll see what it sounds like. Again, just straight P bass, volume and tone control. This thing sounds like a hammer. Big, fat, aggressive sound. Lots of bottom, but it's got a growl to it, and a little bit of clarity because of the round ones, but also the maple neck gives a little bit more attack. With flats, it'd probably be a pretty woolly sounding beast. But with the tone rolled back, it can get some pretty cool, really dubby sounds, which I'm a big fan of. And if you add fuzz on top of it, it can get really, really thick and lay a huge foundation to, you know, for like a power trio, or, you know, where there's a single guitarist, you need to fill some space. It's got a great grind when you open up that tone control. It's just a monstrous sounding bass. It plays so well. You did a little work on the neck, like I said. I don't know if it ever had the neck really adjusted until I got to it. It plays so evenly and so comfortably, and it intonates great for just having the two saddle adjustment back here at the bridge. 1971 candy apple red Telecaster bass. Really cool. All kinds of vibe. You know, it's looking really good. The frets are really healthy. Really cool instrument. Sounds like a bag of hammers. And it looks like a Corvette. So come on down to Norm's to check this out.
Thanks, Greg. Bye.